This is how to create any sword in Blender without wasting time. I've been using this method for a long time to create beautiful swords, so stick around to see exactly how it works. At the end, I will share with you some helpful tips to work more efficiently on your projects, save a lot of time and avoid burnout, thanks to Meshy AI, which is the sponsor of this video. Firstly, you need to decide which kind of sword you want to create. It might be stylized, fantasy-like, or even realistic. Then, find a good reference. I've always wanted to try the Orc's broadsword from Solo Leveling, so I found a reference from this website. The next step is to analyze the sword's structure by simplifying it into basic shapes. For example, the blade is just a rectangle with some deformation, and the handle is just a cylinder with a triangle or cone at the end. Now, let's hop in Blender. By the way, down here you can see the keyboard shortcuts I am using. Select everything with A, then delete. In front view, drag and drop your reference, then adjust the position and rotation to make sure it is at the center. Move the reference backwards, then add a plane. Rotate it to 90 degrees, then in edit mode, adjust the scale so it becomes a rectangle which fully covers the blade. Press Alt-Z to switch to transparent mode, and now we need to do all these deformations in this basic shape. For that, I am going to show you a tool not a lot of people know about. Make sure you are in edit mode, then press F3 or spacebar and search for rip or extend vertices. Then remember the shortcut. Now select this vertex and move it to the tip of the sword. Then make sure to place your mouse cursor in the direction where you want to go, and using that shortcut, move to the next position on the blade. Then repeat the same process with that shortcut. Keep doing that while trying to maintain a constant distance between the vertices. For the other side, move this vertex closer to the tip, then use the shortcut to trace the shape. You can also include these cracks while tracing the shape. For this bottom part, just keep doing the same thing, trying to be as close as possible to the reference. After tracing the blade, if you try to insert this face with I, it might work for small values, but if you go beyond that, it doesn't work correctly. That's why I use this free add-on called Safe Inset. Link in the description. After installing the add-on, select the face, right-click and choose Save Inset. Then adjust the inset size. Move the inset faces outwards for some thickness, then add a mirror modifier on the Z-axis. And that's the blade for now. For the handle, add a cylinder and reduce the vertices to about 24. Then adjust the scale and position to match the reference. Add a loop cut at the bottom, then select this face and scale it down. Extrude it downwards for the handle. Extrude again and scale up, then extrude and add about 5 loop cuts. Select the middle loop with Alt-click, then use proportional editing to scale it down to this shape. Disable proportional editing and keep doing some more extrusions to make it look like the reference. Insert this bottom face with I, then extrude and just keep completing the shape. Scale this last face to 0 to turn it into a cone. This is what we have for now, so let's move on to this part which connects the blade and the handle. From the blade, select this face and duplicate it. Then press P to separate by selection. Select only that, then switch to edit mode. Extrude this edge upwards and move it slightly away from the blade. Then scale the edges as you see to try to match the reference. Scale down this edge to 0 to make it pointy. Now select this vertex and press K for the knife tool. Hold Shift and click to cut a straight line, then press Enter to validate. Then also cut here and here. Now select only these edges and move them outwards. This should also be reflected to the other side because of the mirror modifier. Next, we need to add these rings, so hold Shift and right-click at this position. Then add a torus and it will appear at that position. Reduce the number of segments, then adjust the scale. Scale it up slightly, then rotate to match the reference. Adjust the position from all views, then duplicate and move to the other positions. Select all these rings, right-click and shade smooth. Select the blade tool, then shade auto smooth to blend in the faces. Do the same on the handle. Now let's do this part which covers the blade. In edit mode, select a face on the blade and duplicate it. Separate by selection, then go to edit mode. Moving the face separates the reflection, so enable clipping to keep them together. Move it away from the blade, then extrude this edge and move this face away to create some space. Select the top edge loop and scale to 0 on the Z-axis to make it straight. Repeat that on the bottom edge loop. Adjust the size, then add a subdivision modifier with 2 levels. Add 2 loop cuts, then just move the vertices as you like to get a smooth shape. Then add a solidify modifier and adjust the thickness while leaving some distance between the blade. Right-click and convert to mesh to apply all these modifiers at once. Then duplicate and move to another suitable position. To make this more interesting, select only these faces, then press Alt-E and extrude along normals. You can then select individual edge loops and slide them by pressing G twice to make the edges smoother. And that's basically how to make any sword. Now, someone complained about topology and shading issues from the other video I did on this method. I usually use this method for game assets and not for product visualization. Also, the way you unwrap your model can cause issues too. For example, right here in the UV editing window, if I select the blade, press U and unwrap, the blade's UVs look quite good. But when I go over here and display the stretch, it gives these weird colors. This indicates that I might get issues here while texturing because of stretched UVs. But since the blade is a flat surface, I can fix this by making sure that I am in front view, then press U and project from view. This fixes the stretching on the UVs. There is still a little bit of stretching in these cracks, but it's not bad. And of course, this works on the blade because it is a flat surface, and that's why you're allowed to have this kind of not perfect topology. The other parts of the sword can just be unwrapped normally, as there shouldn't be any stretching issue. Now, here is a tool that will help you work more efficiently on your projects and save a lot of time. You might not want to learn sculpting, retopology, UV unwrapping and all the boring stuff. Meshy AI is a great tool that will do that for you and let you focus on what you really love doing, maybe VFX and animations. Meshy AI is a leading platform in AI model generation and has been awarded in 2024 as the most useful AI tool for game devs, and has just released Meshy 6, which offers higher detail levels and accuracy, AI texturing for your models, accurate with topology and a low poly mode for game devs who focus on optimized meshes, and also 3D to video generation. To use it, there is a link in the description. This is the homepage, and you have a list of available tools right here. If you scroll down, you can see a list of thousands of creations made by the community. You can download any one of these to use in your own project, and you can also remix any model to fit your needs. You can start by using this tool to give a quick description of what you want. This will be using Nano Banana, which is one of the most accurate AI models for image generation. Click on generate and wait for a few seconds. You get 4 image variants to choose from. I like this one, so I'm going to click on image to 3D to now turn it into a 3D model. Make sure the AI model is set to Meshy 6, which is the most recent one. Then you can choose if you want to keep your creations private or publicly accessible. Click on generate And after only a few seconds, here is your generated model. The next step is to add textures to it. So click on this texture button and it will use the image to generate textures for it. After some seconds, here is your fully textured model. You can edit the textures if needed. Then, when you are satisfied, just click on this download button to download it as FBX, GLB or other formats. You can also use the AI texturing tool to generate textures for your 3D models. Give a simple description of what you want your textures to look like, or give it an image input to use as reference. After some time, your model has been fully and correctly textured. Other model generators I have tried don't really give the same level of result as Meshy AI. Check out the links in the description to start using Meshy AI's new features, and thank you to Meshy AI for sponsoring this video.